Good afternoon, BMS Math students. This is Miss Smith. We are going to continue on with Unit 5, Filling and Wrapping, Part 1. This is Lesson 2, and we're going to talk about area. Our essential question is, how can I find the area of different shapes? The first shape we're going to talk about are parallelograms. The base of a parallelogram, which is down here, is the length of any of the sides. The height of the parallelogram is the perpendicular distance between the side whose length is the base and the opposite side. So remember, perpendicular is where it comes in right here at this 90-degree angle. All right, this is our formula for area of a parallelogram. It says the area, which is represented by a capital A, of a parallelogram is the product of a base and the corresponding height. So in your notes, you need to go ahead and highlight this formula for me. So you need to highlight this formula right here. Area equals base times height. Where here's the base, which is represented by little b, and the height, which is represented by h, a lowercase h. All right, example number 1. It says find the area of a parallelogram. And we're going to continue on like we were doing area and circumference of a circle. The very first step you're going to do is you're going to write the formula for area. And so remember, the formula for area is A equals base times height. Now step 2 is we are going to substitute in for our variables, where A is what we're looking for equals the base, which is this down here, the base of the parallelogram, which is 10, times the height, which is 6. And then step 3 is simply just solve. In this case, we're going to multiply. Area equals 10 times 6 is 60 centimeters squared. And it's very important that you put the units and that they are squared when we're dealing with area. All right, example number 2, finding the base of a parallelogram. This example says a treadmill's belt is in the shape of a parallelogram before its ends are joined to form a loop. The belt's area is 2,052 square inches. The belt's width, which is the height of the parallelogram, is 18 inches. Find the length of the belt, which is the base of the parallelogram. So first thing we need to do is we need to write our formula for area of a parallelogram. So area equals base times height. Now I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to highlight some of the important details. It says the belt's area is 2,052 square inches. So they tell me what the area is. It also says the belt's width, which is the same thing as the height of a parallelogram, is 18 inches. And we are finding the base. So we need to find those things. So let's substitute in. We know A is area, and it is 2,052 equals the base is what we're looking for, and we know the height is 18 inches. So I'm going to put 18b. Now, I need to solve for b, so I'm going to divide both sides by 18. And that is going to give me b equals 114 inches. Do not forget your units. It's very important that you refer back to the the word problem in order to figure out what you're looking for. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is area of triangles. And for the area of a triangle, it is half the product of a base and the corresponding height. And the reason it's half is because if you think of a rectangle, a triangle is half of a rectangle. So the rectangle's area is base times height. Well, for triangle, we're taking 1/2 times base times height. So highlight that area formula for triangles. All right, example number 3 says finding the area of a triangle. All right, the very first thing we're going to do is write down our formula for the area. And we know that area for a triangle equals 1/2 base times height. Now, if you don't want to deal with the fraction, you can also write this as area equals 0.5 base times height, because that's still half, and sometimes it's easier to work with decimals than it is work with a fraction. All right, so now we're going to substitute in for our variables. Area equals 0.5, which is half, times the base, which is 231, times the height, which is 111. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and multiply my two whole numbers, so I get area equals 0.5 times, and this is a pretty big number, 25,641. Now I'm not finished because I still have to multiply that by half. So my final answer is the area equals 12,820.5 feet squared. And so that's going to be my answer. It's very important that you take your time when multiplying and that you remember all your different rules for multiplying different things. And that's supposed to be a 1 right there. Sorry. All right, example number 4, finding the base of a triangle. So in this case, they're giving us what the area is, and we need to find what the base is. So it says a triangle has a height of 10 centimeters and an area of 35 square centimeters. Find the base of the triangle. So if you want to, you can kind of draw a picture just so it's a little easier for you to see. If I draw a triangle here, they said that the height is 10 centimeters and the area is 35 square centimeters. So that's going to be everything inside. And I'm trying to find the base. So this is what I'm looking for. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is write the formula for area. So area equals 1/2 base times height. And I'm going to show you how to do it with a fraction this time, but if you want to use 0.5, we're going to get the same answer. Now I'm going to substitute in for my variables. Area I know is 35 equals 1/2. Base is what I'm looking for. The height is 10 times the unknown, which I don't know yet, base. Now the reason I left this one as a fraction is because it's very easy to cross cancel, or you could just say half of 10 is 5, so I would get 35 equals 5b. And then I'm just solving for b. I divide both sides by 5. So my base equals 7 centimeters. And this is not squared units because we're trying to find just the base. We already knew what the area was. All right, the next shape we're going to talk about is trapezoids. And in order to find the area of a trapezoid, we have to take half the product of the sum of the bases and height. And all that is saying to us right here is that half of the product, so 1/2 times the sum of base 1 and base 2 times the height. So you need to kind of highlight this formula. Now, if you refer to our picture, this is base 1 and base 2. It doesn't really matter which one you put as base 1 and base 2, but just know that you are adding those two numbers together. All right, so example number 5, we're going to find the area of a trapezoid. The very first thing we're going to want to do is, you guessed it, write our formula down first. So area equals 1/2, and again you can use 0.5 here, times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. All right, so here's my picture. We're going to call this one base 1 and this one base 2. And this is my height. So we're looking for the area. So now we're going to substitute in area equals, and I'm going to use 0.5 just because it's easier to multiply that way. 0.5 times base 1 is 5 plus base 2 is 10 times the height, which is 8. All right, PEMDAS says we got to do what's in parentheses first, so I'm going to add 5 plus 10. So that's going to give me the area equals 0.5 times 15 times 8. Then I'm going to multiply 15 times 8. So that's going to give me 0.5 times 120. And if I multiply this by 0.5, or I take half of 120, then my area is going to equal 60 feet squared. That's supposed to be a 2. Again, if you used 1/2, you're still going to end up with the same answer that I do. All right, the next example is finding the height of a trapezoid. All right, so we're going to use the information that we have. It says a trapezoid has an area, so that's something important, of 66 square meters. The bases, so I have two bases. Base 1 is 8, base 2 is 14. We're looking for finding the height. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is write my formula. Area equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Now, if you want to draw a picture just to kind of help yourself, you can. Just draw a trapezoid. And it said the area, so everything inside, is 66 meters squared. Base 1, we'll call up here, is 8 meters, and base 2 is 14 meters. And this is what we're looking for, this height right here. So now I'm going to substitute in for what I know. I know that the area is 66 equals 1/2 times base 1 is 8, base 2 is 14, times the height, which I'm looking for. So that's where my variable is going to be. All right, now I just need to solve. I need to simplify this right side. So I get 66 equals 1/2 times 22 times h. I need to simplify this further. What's half of 22? So I get 66 equals 11h. Now I need to solve for h. So I'm going to divide both sides by 11. And so my height equals 6 meters. All right, now it's your turn. You have 4 questions that you need to answer, and make sure those are completed before you come to class tomorrow.